Thank you for stopping by the Truckers Lounge. I mean, we are your hosts. I'm Priest, and this is Gene.
All right, how you guys doing?
Real quick, I'm gonna do something a little different at the beginning of the show. I really want to talk to the viewers real quick. We all know it's the issue going on in the trucking industry. We got uh, inconsistency with rates over here. They telling us we're in a freight recession. You got the FMCSA over here. They passing regulations that doesn't make sense. You got drivers being mistreated at the warehouses, being held a crazy amount of time, to get loaded and unloaded. And you got fuel prices fluctuating crazy. So the question that we should have, I know I have, are we and when we going to do something about this? And I have a solution here. On this side, you got the elders, which I consider supreme in the industry because of the knowledge, and on this side, you got the younger generation, which is supreme in their own rights because of the understanding they got with technology and the way that the world operates today. We got to figure out how to bring these two together because when you look in history and you look at the stories of ancient tribes, the chiefs very rarely hit the battlefield. The leaders, they very rarely hit the battlefield. They led their village, their troops with their knowledge, and the younger generation put in the work. So we got to figure out how can we bring those two together to end some of this craziness that's going on in the industry. Because, like I say, they say we in a freight recession, but in certain aspects of it, I don't see it because I would think a recession would be in comparison to a depression. And I know that when we hear about history of the story about the Great Depression, everyone was doing bad. No one was making major moves. So, what can we do to bring this together? So, one of the things that we can do is, for one, the younger generation, you got to get your heart off your shoulders. You got to stop wearing your heart on your sleeve. Learn the difference between constructive criticism and when somebody hating on you. A lot of these guys with experience are not hating on you. They just don't know how to come across to you. To the elders, if you don't have a fight in you, stop hollering this bullshit strike shit all the time because you talking about something that worked back in the 80s and 90s. They done figured out a way to block that because every time you scream strike, a big trucking company buys out another company. So we gotta do something different because I'm tired of hearing the whining and the crying and all this nonsense carrying on and nobody doing anything about it. You got content creators out there that telling you to strike, but every time they post up a video, they talking about what's going on the load that they're on. My message to them is attitude is reflected by leadership. When you open up your platform, you opening up yourself to a position of being a leader. So you can't scream strike and think people are going to follow you. You have to lead by example and shut down yourself and hope that others will follow. Then you got content creators over here giving out outdated information. Good information, just outdated, just so that they can sell their masterclass. So it's a lot going on here that's really got us talking in a different language. Kind of like the uh Gene, wasn't it the Tower of Babylon in the Bible?
Tower of Babel? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When they tried to build the tower and God cursed them to start speaking different languages.
Right, right. Try to build a tower to heaven. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what's going on in the trucking industry. And it's
Right.
done by design. Well, let me rephrase that. That's kind of what's going on in the trucking industry on the medium and small level.
Mm.
Because the FMCSA is not going to let us address one regulation before they pass two more. you know, and shippers are out here starting brokerages just so they could take advantage of the cheap rates that the market say that you guys will take. So we just got to figure out a way. So let's talk about it, Gene.
All right. So that's a pretty good opening. And we had a discussion several times about, like what you said to some of the older ones. A lot of the older ones are set in their ways.
Yeah.
You can't really, like the saying goes, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. And a lot of older drivers make that saying true every day, because they refuse to learn. We speak all the time about reinventing yourself. All of these major trucking companies that's out here that are buying up the smaller companies that's been around 10, 20, 30 years, how do you think they've been that way? They didn't
Right.
they didn't they didn't get there for 30 years and that size for 30 years and continue to be making billion-dollar purchases because they stayed the same way. No. They reinvented themselves and they learned new tricks along the way because they realize a lot of them they're smart enough to say, I don't know it all. I'm gonna get someone younger to who's already went to college. They keep their ear to the ground. I'm gonna just direct them, but I'm gonna allow them to do what they need to do because they so fresh and full of fight in them. They got a lot of fight in them,
Right.
And so I think that's a big key is, like you said, trying to get both sides to come together and work together. And
Right.
man, what could we become if we did that?
We could become an iron fist.
Exactly.
We really could, because just to comment on a part that you said about, about the difference in the generation. See, that's why the older guys need to start weaponizing their wisdom instead of their actually, boots to the ground deal when they giving out advice to the younger generation, because the older generation don't believe in reinventing themselves.
Right.
They believe in just staying behind the wheel of a truck. Man, one thing I say about the younger generation that I could salute them for, they don't mind trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mind researching, even though when they researching a lot of this stuff they may not understand, but they willing to try it. See, that's where the older generation should come in. Don't
Mm-hmm.
discourage them for the new ideas they got, because the new ideas they got them from somewhere. So
Mm-hmm.
why not, as an elder, listen to these new ideas. Listen to them tell you what's working now, because with your knowledge, you'll be able to latch on to what they're saying and even be able to advise them on a lot of stuff that you hadn't tried yet, because you know the industry itself so well. A lot of the things that they could tell you would be familiar to you. You never tried them, but you're seeing other people do them. You're seeing other big companies do them.
Mm.
And you have to think about it. Okay, LTL. You hear drive the older driver all the time. I ain't unload no truck.
Right.
I ain't getting back there with no pallet jack. But
Mm-hmm.
man, those are like very rich companies. The LTL companies are very rich and are always working direct with the shipper.
And they making 80 plus thousand a year coming through the door.
That's just the company guy.
Yeah.
So, if you got an owner operator that want to try the lane of LTL and they tell you they considering it, don't tell the young guy or the young lady, no, I wouldn't do that. Advise them on a proper way to do it, resources that you may have found on how to charge it. If they tell you, well, I'm seeing resources saying that I should charge like this, then you tell them, well, don't forget to calculate your fuel cost, all your expenses. Make sure you're calculating all your expenses and including that into your rate. That's what the older generation should be telling the younger generation,
Right.
instead of it being uh, um, a back and forth, I'm against you, you against me type deal. Because this is an industry that could give a branch in your family financial stability for generations to come if it's done the correct way.
Right. Good.
Right. So this is not. I wouldn't look at this as a hustle. Now you can call yourself a hustler and run multiple businesses, but I wouldn't look at none of my businesses as a hustle. If you're looking at it like that, you're looking at it the wrong way.